Hi guys, today's video we're going to be working on a 2011 Mercedes E350. It's got the V6. It is a rear wheel drive base model, so no 4MATIC, none of that stuff. First thing we're going to want to do, disconnect the negative terminal on the battery and make sure to secure it out of the way. That way it does not come in contact again and you don't short anything out when you're messing with the starter. So all the work we're going to be doing is from the bottom, and also just a side note, I like to remove the new bolts or the new nuts and split washers obviously beforehand, but the other thing is I don't even use these. I use the OEM ones just so that the next mechanic knows what size to use. Nothing's more annoying than never knowing if these are a 1/2 inch or a 13 or a 14 or 12, even though, for instance, Mercedes, they like to use 13s and 10s. So I know that working on Mercedes, I'm going to need a 13 and a 10, versus I have no idea what these guys are until I try to put a wrench on it. So just something to help the next guy out. Not really a major thing there, but go ahead and remove those. I'm going to be going on the install process, and then you guys can kind of rewind the video or whatnot to get the removal process. So this one, the reason it failed is because it is soaked in oil. So how well you can tell that. And then all this oil that's been building up on the catalytic converter and all that oil up there. So I did advise the customer, let them know that they need to get the valve cover gaskets changed. We need to start there and work down to see if there's any other leaks. But if you guys are doing this job, just make sure that your vehicle is not soaked in oil. If it is, you're going to have this happen again, which I advise the customer of as well. Just make sure to get that taken care of. So first things first, what you'll have to do, trying to think, obviously I can do a install process and you guys can rewind the video, but I will try to tell you real quick off the top while I have this one here, what you'll need to do. So you'll need to disconnect, this will be a 10 millimeter nut. You'll need to disconnect this one, this is for the signal wire, and then this will be a 13 millimeter nut. You'll need to disconnect this one, that's going to be for the power wire. There's a little black cap on it, this guy right here. So that slips over that nut to protect it, keep it from shorting out. You just pop it off with a flathead or a knife, and then you'll have access to this 13. So once you remove the 13 and the 10, I use these flex heads for the 13, and then I use this guy, a little 10 mil with a flex head for the 10, because my wrench, I don't know how well you guys can see this, try to give you some light. My wrench wouldn't fit in here due to this how thin that opening is, so I was able to use my socket. So 10 mil, 13 mil. Once you remove those, get the wires out of the way, I went ahead and put them up kind of here against the transmission pan to tuck them out of the way. And that's why you need to disconnect your negative, so that you don't short anything out. So moving on, the next thing will be getting this. Okay, so you can see I have this set up like this. I used a flex head 3/8 drive with a long 3/8 extension. Try to get in there to see a swivel, another extension, except that extension I believe is like 2 or 3 inch, and then the E-Torx socket. Now the E-Torx is size, let me see, this guy's, so the E-Torx is a 14. So this is what it looks like. So you're going to need a 14 E-Torx in order to get these out properly without rounding the heads. And the last thing you want to do is round the heads on this sucker, because then you're not only have a bad starter, but now you also can't get the bad starter out. So make sure you get them. I think I got these from AutoZone. They're Duralast. They work great. I have not had any issues with them whatsoever. I also don't use these all the time because I typically work on American vehicles. Haha. Anyways, so moving on. Like I said, this is not the 4MATIC. This is just the base. This is just rear wheel drive. This is the easiest it's going to get. I don't really see a lot of videos specifying what this is, so I will try to set y'all up the best I can. Just bear with me. I know some of you guys are going to yell at me and tell me I'm an offer cameraman, but I'm not a cameraman for my full-time job.
So we're going to start here. We're going to go ahead and put the starter up in the hole. And we might need to rotate this. I might have put it in incorrectly. So we'll see if we can rotate that in here. Yep. All right, and then we're going to get these wires out of the way as well. Probably just see my elbow. But anyways, we're going to pull these wires back out of the way. That way we don't bolt them into the trans when we're installing our starter. So we got the new starter lined up. We're going to try to get that hole lined up there. All right, I think that's it. The solenoid is going to be on the bottom, so I did have it right the first time. And then we're going to try to get this guy to line up without dropping this on it. It's not the most fun location, but it's also not the end of the world. Alright, we're going to start on the bottom bolt. I think that's going to make our life a little easier. I'm going to try to get this top bolt out of here just a tad. Try to find our holes. And we're going to go for our bottom bolt. Good lord. Alright, come on. Stay on here. Hopefully you guys can see something. If not, I will be moving the camera here in a minute. Just to give you guys a better idea of what I'm trying to do. Holy moly. This is a fun battle. Oh. Next thing to check, I guess, should have checked this first, is if it's the right starter. It is not the right starter. That is why. There's our problem. Alright, so, oh my god. Alright.